Greetings and salutations. It's Wednesday. It's exactly 6 o'clock in the evening, and therefore it must be another episode of Waved Yellow. Welcome to number 68. Hola, Gary.
Colin!
How are you, bro?
I'm very well, yourself?
I see
Hi,
you've dropped
Hola,
Chiquita,
Chiquita,
Senora,
Senora, Senoritas.
and others.
Just in case.
Because there are others. There are many others. Gary,
Yes.
you had an exciting weekend, I believe. You were in...
I went to go and play with some motorcycles.
And they didn't want me there because they think I know nothing about bikes. I don't know nothing. I nearly said it. So, and you were there for the debut of certain GTC cars, but you, of course, couldn't be worried about them. You walked right past them because you were grumpy AF, and you didn't see... But you did post a beautiful picture of... You remember on Wednesday night when we got the story?
Yes.
Of Michael van Rooyen's Toyota Gazoo Racing South Africa Toyota Corolla. It's not a car that is used by any taxi company. We were approached by directorship of Toyota South Africa, and to put it mildly, cucked on.
Alweer.
Calvin came down hard. Now, for those of you who know Calvin, he's not a small man, and he has gravitas. And he, anyway, he loved the coverage.
But a hell of a nice guy.
He loved the coverage, and he said, "Thank you very much."
Yeah.
But we don't do it to appease motor manufacturers, because there are two motor manufacturers that I am so annoyed with, that I think they belong in the...
I hope you guys are ready for this, because he's going to have a full go now.
No, not now. Later. I'll save it for later. We are founder members of the DBAC club movement.
Yeah, and if you don't know what it is, Google it.
It's a global movement.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not all motor manufacturers in South Africa subscribe to that.
That is true.
We know that Toyota do, because they are welcoming. They are nice guys. There's one motor manufacturer who is not very child-friendly,
That's true.
because children love toys.
Yes.
Where do you keep your toys?
In a box.
In your cot.
Oh, in your cot.
And if you're not child-friendly, what do?
You throw them out the cot.
You throw them all over South Africa. So if anybody's looking for toys, guys, there are toys.
I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting
all
for this.
over South Africa.
Yeah.
There are so many toys thrown out, and next to each toy there's a bit of ego
Yeah.
and attitude, and there's no common sense there. Absolutely no common sense. Now I'll leave some of you to work this out. If you work it out, drop it in the comments and we'll get it going. But last weekend was... Gary, did you go to the production meeting on Monday? Because I missed it. And sadly, I was working. And I've got to just say that makeup and hair need to be cucked out. Because check this stuff going here. This is takara.
Yeah,
I
see you had a fight with a styling razor.
No, I haven't. This is just a fight with... I gave up. I didn't even entertain. I interacted nothing with a razor. I refused to, because I think that the market leader on razors is reaming us quietly. So basically, if you charge too much for a product, boycott the product. Unfortunately, you end up looking like this.
Yeah.
So
are you boycotting everything made by a white man?
no, but was that Gillette? Okay, so
No,
Gary,
while you're
Gary.
looking at some notes, I just want to say hi to you guys that have bothered to send a comment. Wayne, what? Hi there. Thanks for saying hi.
Wayne who? Wayne what?
Wayne
Not
what?
Wayne Riddle.
No, Wayne what?
Wayne, is it Riddle?
I believe Wayne
Riddle.
Wayne Riddle is involved with Kyle Army now. I don't know how true it is, but
Wayne Riddle's replacement. In fact, no, you can't replace Wayne Riddle. He is irreplaceable.
No.
But the new chairman
yes,
of MSA,
hey.
congratulations, who?
Anton.
Roo. Antoine Roux has a
Anton,
long
we wish
history.
you all the best, Squire.
Has a long history of sponsorship, of involved in commercial ventures in sport, not only motorsport, but he also runs a brilliant workshop, RS Automotive in Rondburg,
Yeah.
with an Piet Westraat from Opel.
Okay.
Back in the glory days of Opel Motorsport, Piet Westraat was one of the wheels around there, and he's now the main man, what counts on the floor at RS, and they do some absolutely amazing stuff. When he's not eating food at 44, what? Piet, focus on your work. By the way,
Yes.
Gary, watch here.
Why?
Because I want you to look deep in my eyes. Because I've got issues with you.
He's getting sentimental, guys.
Gary, no, I'm not. I've got issues. I'm the Murin with you.
With
I
me?
want, because you're like fucking all over the place. Gary,
Oh.
focus, China. Look in my eyes. Focus, Bree. Gary,
Okay.
you got to focus. All right,
All
because
right, Johan
he's
Pienaar, how's it? Lee Henry Goby wants to know if they're adult toys.
no, they're all the toys that they play with, and they're sulking because they think they are just the bee's knees, and they think that the world owes them a living, but they screwed up, and now they, oh my God, we think that like a two-stroke motorbike, and they threw all their toys out the car.
I have a question for somebody out there.
Yeah.
Two questions, actually. Number one, if any of you out there know the lap record for Kalani, please type it in the comments below.
Is that the ultimate lap record? The fastest that...
The fastest anybody's ever been around the track.
Okay, there's three people who probably know that.
Who's that?
Ian Schechter, Tony Martin, and who's the little short oak with the coloured sunglasses?
Sparky.
No, man, the other short oak with the funny sunglasses, Wayne Taylor.
Went up. And then
I've got to say the short oak with the funny glasses
Okay.
because he made it, his funny glasses.
And then my other question is, Charles, I know you're online watching. Can we talk about your new toy? Just in comments say yes or no, whichever.
Okay, but now there's two toys,
Yes, but he must tell us which one we can talk about.
the German or the Italian one.
Well, he must tell us. Charles, I'm asking him to
Otherwise,
respond.
we'll just bust at both.
Well, we could do, but I'm trying to be nice to everybody.
Gary, we're talking cock here. I mean, rubbish. What happened this last weekend? First race of the GTC Championship
Yeah.
without that oil company who, from what I can gather, weren't very nice and didn't give people... Nobody minds if somebody changes tactic from a sponsorship point of view. But just say to the guy, excuse me, heads up, couple of months' time, we're moving on, best you find somebody else.
Yeah.
Don't do it on the something of December when the year's
When the
ends in
year's just
December.
about finished, correct.
I'm not sure if we are supposed to say that,
We just did.
but we just did because that's how we roll.
Yeah.
Exciting times. They haven't lost any cars. Everybody was there. There was good racing. Gary posted a beautiful picture of an Audi with a Murd front nose, and sadly Michael van Rooyen's Toyota Corolla that was
With
Murd
a-
back end.
Back end, yes.
So that was the end of his race. And it's about
Race,
time.
race one.
Yeah, well, it's about time that drivers learned not to drive into each other. Coming from me, that is big, because those of you who know, I always believe a robust challenge is a good thing. But
Well,
don't...
it was purely a question of there was a safety car board out. Two guys in front saw the safety car board. The one behind that didn't see the safety car board decided to use a push to pass. Boom! End of story.
But then he's a
Ding, ding, ding,
dwarf.
ding. We can't. Yeah, we could.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Then he's not a clever person, because you have to be, when you're in a race car, you need to be alert. So all of you guys who want to be racing drivers, learn to be, look up alert in a dictionary. You've got to check out things all the time and anticipate. And if there's dust and parts flying, chances are...
There's poo in the
Look.
air.
I was involved in a fair number of crashes in my time.
Yeah.
But I didn't drive into too many oaks by accident. I may have driven into some oaks, but it was on purpose.
Okay, Shah would like to know what toys.
Okay, Charles, you don't go to Italy and shop and go to all these fancy places, and then you don't drop photographs of some toys and racing cars, in particular GT3 stroke, GT4 stroke, sports cars stroke, and or any other.
Yeah.
So are we
talking about it, aren't we?
Are we
Charles?
talking about the
Hey, talking about that.
Are we talking about the Kia or the Hyundai? Because
I think it's a Hunkia.
No, Gary, that's the relationship. It's a Kia or a Hyundai. So, Charles, tell us.
He responds, we visit factories, O's.
Oh, my word.
Charles, is that the best you can come
all right,
up
bottom
with?
line. Enough talking cock. There's a fast car coming, and we just have to be patient.
Yep.
Right, so last weekend, there was... Who won the races?
Where? And down there, the bikes, the 1,000 cc's was Clinton Seller. The 600 was young Blaze Baker, both on Yamahas. So
what happened to the Kawasaki's and the Suzuki's?
They actually, there's one Suzuki, 1000 Suzuki that Alan John Fenter was on, actually was pretty good. He mixed it up with the Yamahas.
Tell me, has AJ still big with the hair?
No, it's all gone. No, you're not. That's not AJ. AJ's never had hair.
Who's the oak with a mud of a lot of hair?
He doesn't race anymore. I just can't think of his name. AJ, if you're online, tell us who it is. I'll think of his name.
There's one oak with like a. I was going to say a gollywog, but you're not allowed to say that.
But for the start of South African National Series, because this was the National Series. This is the top echelons of motorsport in South Africa. GTCs, Formula 6 800s.
But G&H Transport weren't there. Extreme supercars.
Because they don't
so it's not the top echelon.
They don't run a national series.
It's partly the top echelon.
Yeah, part of the top echelon.
Gary, you're never going to... You know, when I arrived here today, I came fresh from our transport department. Cocked up again. So our executive producer needs to sort of talk to a couple of people. And one of us was grumpy. It wasn't me. And he was so grumpy that I had to try and persuade him to be ungrumpy. Anyway, it took a while. And
is he ungrumpy
Gary,
now?
I've got to say something. That
yes.
I've had a rather stressed week from last show. And coming here brightens my day. It lifts my spirits. It puts a smile on my face. I absolutely love doing this with you and with all of you. So this is number 68. I've called it Ford. And next week I'm also going to call it Ford.
Ford. And
Ford last
Mustang,
week was also Ford.
Ford Mustang went and did everything in supercars.
And in NASCAR.
That's right.
I mean, like...
I see that most of the supercar guys are V8 supercars, car guys in Aussie are a bit grumpy about the Mustang taking...
No, not most of them.
All of it.
The German guys, what are they running? The Vauxhall... Oh, sorry, the Holden, but it's a Vauxhall. No, it really is. It's a Vauxhall with a hatchback. They're very grumpy because they lost and they believe that winning supercars is their eternal right. And this kid comes along, a New Zealander, comes along with an American team.
Yeah.
If, the McLaughlin in the Penske Shell car and drilled them for dead. It was magnificent. The one bit of redemption for that horrible, stupid Channel Supersport, and I'll say horrible, stupid Channel Supersport, is because you've ditched NASCAR, but they're running V8 Aussie Supercars live. They've changed their gearbox. Did you notice how...
Who? Supersport?
Supersport don't know what a gearbox is. Have you noticed how the supercars have got a much less clunky, cleaner, crisp gear change? They've gone to an X-Track transaxle. We still sit with the Albans transaxle in South Africa in GDC because it is what we've got.
It's an extra. No, it is. Sorry, you're right.
Gary,
you're correct. You are correct.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Gary.
Lee Henry Gobi.
Focus, China.
Okay, Lee Henry Gobi.
Yeah.
He's been henpecked by his wife.
Well, it's your problem, China.
His wife asked him if he's got nothing better to do than watch us.
Yeah, he has, but this is his life's. Tell her, Lee Henry, that life's about choices. And right now, you've made the correct choice to watch us as opposed to play with her. Well, because you can play with her later. Talk. I meant play in its widest terms.
Okay, just for Mrs. Lee Henry Gobi.
Yes.
Next week we'll have a lady on our show, and this one is especially for all the ladies. So.
Why? Are we being sexist now? Are we discriminating?
Well, indirectly,
I think we should treat them all.
Mrs. Gubby was trying to say, what's she those two?
Well, I mean, particularly. Right, so that... have we finished with... Who won the GDCs, Gary? Because I wasn't there. And at 8:40 in the evening, Gary Tomato, what you need to do is to send 2 Oaks who know what they're kind of doing about motorsport to sit and spread the news very fast about what happened, and then we can wait for 3 weeks until the production for Supersport is ready and that nobody can watch. So maybe there's 2 Oaks who are really, really keen to go to GDC and talk about it and spread the news about who won what and who did what. But I do know that, I'll tell you who it was. It was Terry Moss. Lighty Moss, what's his name?
Simon Moss.
Simon Moss drilled everybody for dead again. So Terry Moss Racing.
And the Toyota came in second in race 2.
And I'll tell you what, there was a Volkswagen they were in second in race 1. Robert Volk had a misfire that apparently is elusive, and so on and so forth. And anyway, right, moving along. Ford's won NASCAR, and Ford's won Australia, and now we move on to this weekend. Gary, I want to know... Oh, the very interesting thing was in 1973, long, long time ago in a world far, far away, Molly Slip sponsored my brother in his endeavors in various things. And it was absolutely hilarious in the Transvaal Autocross Championship.
Yeah.
He drilled Hetema and Van der Merwe in a Mini, and the Oaks had duck lips. But the story goes that he was sponsored by Molly Slip, and Molly Slip was brought into this country by Robert Spaniard. And last weekend we meet Tracy Spaniard, and for those of you who have a memory...
Is that Robert's daughter?
Yes.
Okay.
So Molly Slip sponsored my brother, Spaniard sponsored me, and then we meet Tracy Spaniard again. And they give you some radiator sealant, or sorry, they gave our production department, because one of our production vehicles is having big trouble with water not staying on the inside of the radiator.
Yeah,
so
it keeps on coming out.
So the bottom line of the story is that Spaniard give a member of our transport department some of their radiator sealant. And I've got to say to you this, that apparently figures, I mean, he's spoken to you, Gary, and that things have come back, that it's a whole lot better, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it works.
They're only putting water in every third day now instead of every morning.
And every evening.
Yeah.
So guys, if you've got problems with your radiator, don't put pepper or curry in it.
Well, if it worked in a racing car, it's got to work in production cars.
Yeah, but if it works, our production's car has got, if it works there.
It works anyway.
You know it's the best thing in the world. So we're busy talking to Spaniard and Tracy. If you're watching, hopefully we can watch this.
Hey, leave the coffee alone. People can hear it.
Now, okay, Anton, let's just go through this thing. Anton, birthdays.
Yes.
Leroy Poulter.
Happy birthday, Mr. Poulter.
Do you know that he shares his birthday with David Gilmour?
Now I do.
Do you know who David Gilmour is?
I no idea.
Because he would also wish he was here. There's a hint. Come on, Gary. Who is David Gilmour? He's 73 today. Anybody wants to know who David Gilmour? Anybody who does know? You who do know? There's a prize of a hamper of something for the first person. I promise you, there is a hamper of something from our mystery sponsor. Right, so we can cross that off.
Lee Henry Goby says Pink Floyd.
Yeah, and how old is he, Lee? Just you're not allowed to use Google, hey?
Okay, Charles Laurentiis wants to know what James Forbes is doing in London. And James Forbes comes back. He wanted to say, what are you buying, James? James Forbes come back. He's going to go and buy talent. James, I hope the talent...
Hey, there's not a shop they're going to let him into.
I hope the talent arrives before your race next weekend, bro.
Okay, so I've got your size and model. And it points to helmet homologation. Why, Gary?
Oh, I have no idea.
You know production.
Yes.
And research. And they gave me these notes.
Okay, so helmet homologation means something that can withstand...
I do know where it is. So where the story goes... Why are you laughing?
This is a remind you sort of show today.
Gary, come on, man. This is a serious show. This is not comedy hour. This is serious stuff about motorsport. There is nothing more seriouser than the entire world about maths and science, first of all, and then motorsport 3, and then...
Silicon.
No,
Duct tape and
family show, not
unobtainium.
going there. Nah, road closed. So one of the things we like talking about is safety, because, not because, oh my God, let's just be careful, because to stay alive. And in a racing car, there are a couple of things you need to stay alive. You need to have the proper clothing, the proper environment, in other words, seat belts, and they've got to be done up correctly and tight, and you need a hands device. And in particular, the new in Formula One, Gary, and there's always a trickle down in Formula One on helmet safety. So what they've done is they've increased the requirements, and I won't give you stats and figures, but it's proper. So they take a ballistic missile, a bullet, and they fire it at the helmet. And
it's supposed to deflect.
It's supposed to deflect. So this thing has got to be incredibly strong, and couple that with incredibly light, because one of the favorite injuries in a Formula One car or in any racing car is a neck injury, because the neck is a human body is actually a bit screwed up, because you've now got a bit of a big weight.
But the head is the only thing that's not attached to something other than two bits of straps on a harness. So it's a loose
like,
object. It's like yours, yeah.
There's no solid joint, so it's all like Matthew Carstens. Dr. Matthew Carstens is a brilliant physio, and he operates out of the Mayerton area. So have a look up Matthew Carstens, and he was explaining to me just about the neck and extension and how much it can take. And it's quite scary how much, Gary, if I picked you up by the neck, well, it would
probably
stretch a lot. So you end up looking like E.T., so your neck can stretch. And in particular, when your head is kind of heavy, and some drivers have got denser brains than others. So there's a more, the heavier on your head, when you come to a sudden stop and your head flippy flops, your neck has got to take up a lot more energy. So you want the helmet to be as light as possible and as strong as possible, and then it must also allow sufficient cooling and airflow through it, and great vision. So put all of those things together, and plus the FIA safety division, and they do some really, really good work. I think they screwed up on the halo. They could have done some more work on a windscreen, but they had to do something because of safety rules. You know that
it's proved itself, because on a number of occasions last year, cars did get up and they did get over the drivers and that sort of stuff, and they did tyres and that. If those things weren't there, guys could have got worse injured than what actually happened.
Yeah, but Gary, coulda, woulda, shoulda. If my mother had...
She wouldn't be my auntie.
No, if my mother had... Well, anyway,
yeah, it's a family show.
Would have been my father. Yeah. So now you, in order to pass all of these tests, you can't just say, well, my RIFX M1 complies. Each helmet model and helmets and size within that model range has to pass.
Yes, not just one.
No, not just a generic.
Yeah.
Before you can say this, so within the range, you might find a medium, a large, and for Lewis Hamilton, an XXXX, XXXXL would be homologated, so that you have to be very, very careful of which helmet you buy. And guys, don't be idiots. Buy the best helmet you can afford. If it's
you've only one lid.
If you've had a crash, chuck them away. If you had a big crash, cut your seatbelts up and cut them up before you throw them away. Like Davy de Villiers' Davy Willife's BMW. Those seatbelts are trashed, because what happens with the seatbelts is that any material, fabric, when you pull it, it will stretch, and then break.
Correct.
Now seatbelts, if they break, and they're genuine seatbelts, chances are there's bigger trouble than the whole lot. So put it all in a box, crush it up, and put it in the coffin and throw it away. So, but when the seatbelt, when they stretch, and they're designed to stretch in a fashion, because the human body in a crash needs to slow down in a progressive way, and part of that crash is that when the car goes into a barrier, just assume that the car hits this barrier. Gary, check it out, elbows out.
I are not your barrier.
So the car hits the barrier and starts to crumple. And as it crumples, the car decelerates. And that controlled deceleration helps the human body decelerate slowly.
Okay.
All your organs and things, if you've got a heart, Gary, it's attached by not a lot. It's all soft tissue in there.
Well, it's actually all your organs are actually floating inside the body.
Yeah, they're
They're not really attached like a seatbelt.
Yeah, but they've got like sticky tape.
Yeah.
Not bolts and shit. I mean stuff. So you've got to control this deceleration. So you want the deceleration to happen over the longest possible distance. So the distance and speed is time, because maths and science is important to our kids.
Yep.
Remember, don't ditch your maths and your science. And parents, tell your kids that they need to understand maths and science, because Mr. Newton is very important. Now they can go to history, so they can have all the arts and all that cuck that everybody likes to go to, but Newton, maths and science. So you've got to decelerate it all nice and slowly. And part of that is the seatbelt stretching slightly in a controlled manner.
Yeah.
But when they've had massive impact, guys, take your belts, chuck them away, because they won't be able to stretch next time. Chances are they break, and then you die. And we don't like death.
But it's not only that. There's a lot of cars out there, and there's a lot of things out there. Overalls, helmets, and seatbelts, which are the three most vital things in racing. Some of them are so old, they've actually passed their fire retardant, like a racing suit, has passed its fire retardant date. In other words, it's no longer fire retardant.
Gary, in some ways, I'm also a believer in Darwin. If you're stupid enough to wear that, you're stupid enough to die in a crash. The problem with that is that if it was just the oak who couldn't care and he shuffled off his mortal coil in a fire or an accident, that would be okay. But he hurts his family and friends, and he hurts the industry. Yes. So don't be selfish. Remember DBAC, and get your safety equipment up to date.
The boys from Tasha's online.
Like, how's it put? How's Tasha's hair?
How's it
put
Ricky?
In the hood.
Yeah.
I tell you, brother. You know, I had a long talk to Richard Roots, coming to throwing toys out the cot, and not Richard. Believe me, he is a gentleman, and he's totally appreciative of. And we spoke long about the rubber duck racing.
Yeah.
And he's so appreciative of the G&H Transport guys and what the work and financial support and moral support that they've given him to continue racing in the rubber ducks. Gary, I want to talk about throwing toys out the cot.
Just keep going. You're doing a pretty good job.
Thanks. So you might...
I'm warning you guys, it's going to get rough.
I need two hands.
You might have heard... The way you're flapping hands, I'm moving out of here a little bit.
No, Gary. I love motorsport. I hate the bullshit in motorsport.
Well, it makes two of us. I mean, you and I
love
and everybody watching is passionate about the game.
And I made a commitment to myself to try and be positive. It is unbelievably difficult. And also to forget some conspiracy theories. Gary, just because the voices in your head tell you that someone's out to get you, doesn't mean they really are.
Okay.
Well, not in your case, but in most everybody's cases. So let's say there's an event. And let's say, there is an event.
Yes.
Next weekend, we're going to Cape Town.
Correct.
And there's some awesome cars happening in Cape Town. There's the Porsche 910. I want to see, have you got your refueling rig sorted without the blow dart, tie wraps, and duct tape? Because if you haven't, I'm going to show it again, and you can be the murin again. But that's also your problem. So... Gary, I'm on a roll. So entries to the Campos 600, which is the first round of the South African Endurance Series, closed at 5 p.m. sharp today.
That's right.
But now, in various motorsports, there are different types of motorsport events, and there's an entry procedure where you put your entry in, And then if you doff and you like so totally cool, you sit at Tasha's all the time and you like check all the china and the bonnets out and you like parking bay there with your Lambo with the dropped suspension. In fact, with a Golf, no, a Golf doesn't work at Tasha's. It's got to be something proper. So you can check out all the bonnets and you can like forget about it because you're having like Moe and all that other cark, and then you can enter tomorrow and you pay a late entry fee. But there's some motorsport events in the world that are by invitation.
Only.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the guy says, Gary, I want you to come and drive in my race.
Yes.
But before I invite everybody, I say, guys, tell me who wants to come to my party. So everybody and their dog goes out and says, hey, listen, I want to go to your party. And I say, well, Gary, no, not Gary, but Ricky and Simon and Gianni and Mario and Leroy and Rechard, these guys are cool.
Yeah.
They've got bonnet and toys and cars. Okay. And they bring all the cool people in. We don't want ugly people there, and we don't want somebody who's got a 1923 DKW because that's like not cool. And we invite them, we say, okay guys, come, tell me what you're going to drive. Exactly what you're going to drive, because you know, we might have 14 Lamborghini Galados, and we don't want 14 Lamborghini Galados. We only want 12. Yeah. Because we want a few Audi A10s, E10s, R10s, whatever, W10s, whatever.
R8.
The Audi version of that's why I said Hyundai and Kia. Have you got it? Guys, Hyundai, Kia, they like basically the same underneath, same but different. Audi and Lamborghini, same but different. So then, and just bear with me because it's important to understand some basic principles. So then I say to you, right, if you want to come into my party, you must buy a ticket on Wednesday. 6 o'clock Wednesday, it's finished. And also if you want to come into my, because it's my party.
Yeah.
And I check out all the cool people. You're not allowed to wear sandals. And because like if Ricky arrived with sandals at my party, in fact, if Simon arrived with all his bonnets and in sandals, you'd have to say to him, Simon, you can go, leave your bonnets here, but you're not allowed to play. Because there's a rule. It's my party. I can make up the rules.
Are we getting past the party yet?
And if I say to you, Gary, buy your ticket at 5 o'clock, otherwise
you're not in.
No, otherwise you can't come.
Yeah.
And you tell your China, hey, listen, have you bought the ticket? Your China says, yeah, I have.
You mean the guy that signs the checkbook?
And meantime, he hasn't.
Yeah.
And then you, the oak who's going to play with the bonnets, and he's the financer, and then he doesn't do it.
Yeah.
And then all your other Chinas turn around and say, well, it's me, Colin, who's been an arsehole because I don't like your bonnets and I prefer Kias. I don't like Lambos, I prefer Kias. Mm. So the bottom line is, if there's a set of rules, and I've spoken at deep length with Reggie with us, he's respectful, he understands there is a complicated issue where one oak thought the other oak was doing something, and the one oak who said to the other oak, please will you do this. So there's a bit of a long chain of command, and anyway, an entry wasn't paid, and then he didn't go, he can't go. So what do all the other certain manufacturers who try to hijack the Jaguar Somalia Hill Climb, they throw their toys out the cot and they withdraw their cars. How frickin' childish are you? That had nothing to do with the manufacturer. It's a rules guy. Shrewsbury is bleak because he set a rule and now he's got to abide by the rule. So if you're going to boycott something in solidarity with somebody, remember, first Google hashtag DBAC. So that's why, listen through their toys all over the country. I think it's childish, I think it's stupid, and I think it does motorsport harm. So Mr. Nissen, Mr. Whitfield, go and talk to your people and tell them if they love motorsport, fix it and fix it fast. End of story. Right, Gary.
Are you?
That's me.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Oh.
I feel good now.
I was just going to go and there's a whole lot of singing going in the background. It's somebody's birthday.
There's an art class.
I was going to get up and just go because
No. I mean, do me a favor. Okay, so it's Robert Wickens.
Yes.
You remember him who got crashed up?
Yes.
He had all his safety gear in it. A massive, massive, massive
I
crash.
see he's slowly making a...
He made a
Headway.
commitment to his wife-to-be that he would dance at his wedding. And it's the first race of IndyCars this year. NTT, how ironic. NTT is a Japanese company that sponsors IndyCar.
Yeah.
First race in St. Petersburg. So you've got Japan, Russia, America. Anyway, Robert Wickens is going to this race. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. My favourite is number 27, because that was always a good race number, Alexander Rossi.
27, the best number in the world.
And Takuma, because 27 is actually 3 times 3 times 3, so it's 3, 9. And in fact, Gary, give me a number and I'll make it equal 27.
The number of people online right now that have just about to
No, they're not
double
going
up.
anywhere. Okay, so Gary's Radiator. Oh, the other thing, we'll talk about that next time. Welcome, Anton Ruud. Gary, that's all I got.
Yeah, but now hang on a second. Just before you go there, I'm going to answer some of these questions because Mark Victor
Yeah.
has replied to something. Thanks for the update on Somalia debacle.
It is a debacle.
Yeah.
It's a screw-up. It's pathetic. But there's rules. In Reggie's own mind,
Well, Reggie's online.
never ever will he let something like this happen again. And it's not about the actual amount of money. It was a total miscommunication. But rules are rules, and he respects them. And he does not like controversy. And in his words to me, he spent some time with a heavy heart, and it was eating at him. And I tell you, he's one of the nicest guys that you ever want in motorsport. And I respect him. I like him. Not because he's my friend. I'm talking good about him. But I would love to have seen him there. And hopefully there still is the door is still open. Somebody else pulls out. Now that all the other Nissans have pulled out, he was going.
Yeah.
But it's not a manufacturer-driven thing. It's just... Anyway.
All right.
What else you got, Gary?
No,
Who else is chirping there?
Reggie's online. Reggie Nasser there.
Look after the dogs, China, and your wife.
All right.
Because his wife is still battling to recover from Reggie's rough driving on his boat. Eh? He was telling me little things about how sensitive. You look at a rubber duck, and I've asked him next time he's up here. We want to sit and talk to him because he's fascinating to talk to.
Yeah.
And do you know that he invented in South Africa, the inventor of Red Bull and vodka is Richard Rutz, and it was done in Cape Town, and it was done around a Group N race. Red Bull sponsored me. They gave me 6 cases of Red Bull per race.
But
And
no vodka.
somehow Reggie found vodka, and we had Red Bull and vodka. That's a true story. So every time you drink a Red Bull and vodka, pay homage and tribute to Richard Rutz, the Flying Dutchman.
Okay.
Is that it? Gary,
No, it's not. There's a lot of people asking about the lap record at Killarney. And there's a reason I'm bringing this up. One team is threatening to go there and smash it. And another young driver has made the decision to take them on.
Is this possibly, there are rumours that there's a young driver in South Africa who's in Europe at the moment.
He's back.
That he might have visited. He might have visited
I promise
a
we will.
Central European country
Yes. And that's it. That's
with
where
some
we're going.
exciting developments
Yes.
that might
Yes.
or might not happen.
Yes, and he's been on the thing all day today with me. Gary, what's a lap record? What's a lap record? So I think
Who won the index of performance at Endurance Championship last year?
index of performance was Theo van Vuren and Bradley Scorer in the Alfa Romeo.
They're not driving together this year, hey?
No.
Okay. I was just wondering. Right, so what were you saying?
Young Stewie White,
Connect the dots.
who's in the one Ginetta G57, is indirectly challenging Mr. Gavin Cronje, who could be in the other Ginetta G57 for the lap record.
If the parts are out.
Yeah, but that's
So
up
the
to you.
latest on the...
No, it's up to you. I'm just telling you where the challenge is.
I think it's
This is not
hilarious.
an open challenge, but one keeps, what's the lap record? What's the lap? Now, I know that Stewie's
No, but
got
there's
the
a-
capability.
there's a famous-
If the car is sorted.
There's a famous donkey rider, or a donkey owner, who has said... he also likes bread. So the Wonder Bread team has decided that they could actually have a go at it. Ginetta are are furiously panicking about some parts. And I tell you what, that Janetta, if it happens, that G57 showdown is going to be magnificent.
It is.
We're going to talk a lot more about it next week, but Jan Lammers has entered,
Yeah.
ex-Formula One driver.
Yeah.
There's about 20 cars that are entered.
Le Mans driver as well. Now, Jan Lammers is entered in a Janetta G55 GT3 car.
That was the last... Gary, you know a lot more about this than I do.
That
it's
is-
got a Nissan engine.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll boycott it? Because... I'm just asking.
Okay, it's powered by a Nissan V8 VK45, 570 brake horsepower Nissan engine.
Yeah, that's where the restrictor and GD3, they try and keep them around about 550 horsepower. It's going to be fascinating to see what other GD3 cars actually pitch.
But
I believe that Aquila, the elusive Aquila,
Aquila, yeah.
it's been promised since
For the last
5
3 years.
years.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to... Do you think it'll actually appear?
Yes, it's
Well,
gonna
do you think
be-
it'll run?
It's in. That's in. There's 3 Ligiers entered.
Of various
Two
JS63...
253s and 149. The 51 that's here
Yeah.
is not ready yet. The gearbox isn't arrived in time.
Oh, there's still a week and a half to go, Gary. It's motor racing.
yeah.
There's lots of 24 hours to go.
And then there's a Ferrari with Dr. Kishore Pitthammer and Chris Badnick. Nice to see Chris Badnick making a
And
return
that's
to
run by
endurance
Fast
race.
Freddy.
That is correct.
And Aranji's senior and junior are driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah, a Lamborghini. Yeah, it's a black one with a Lamborghini on it. So they're out there playing in that. That's entered up to the GT3.
And our championship winning team, the Aid Call 24 team.
That's right, that's
with
it.
with our international superstar, man of fame, man about the world, Nick Adcock. Is he back?
Nick, I've got nothing to do with this, brother. I've got nothing to do with what he's on about. Yeah, he's back.
So Nick's back. And
Yeah.
who's he with?
He's with Michael Jensen.
And the elusive Mrs. Jensen, who loves our camera so much. Great team. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Fritz Kleinans and
James Forbes.
James Forbes in the orange
other-
car,
Yeah.
orange Ligier. Gary,
Yes.
it's endurance racing. It's
It's gonna be
exciting
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah. But a lot more of that to come next week. So please stick with us and watch us and that sort of stuff.
Gary,
But
the mosquitoes are eating the hell out of me.
we are running a bit close on time, guys. But for those of you that are doing nothing this weekend, you want to go and watch some stuff. There is some racing at Swartkops Raceway.
We're going to go and have a look because apparently there's all sorts of fancy cars there. And apparently there's some, I don't know, like the old, what do you call them?
Okay. All right, Reggie just has one more comment for you.
Yes.
You're giving secrets away, Uncle Colin. Now, since
I'm
I want to know,
sorry.
I want to know. Since
sorry,
when,
but you know
since
what,
when are
Ge-
you an uncle?
Yeah, but he calls me Worm because
Well,
he
okay.
thinks I'm older than him.
Okay.
Reggie, I only want to clear the water, and I only want for people to just chill out and let's love racing. That's all I want to do.
Sasha Montenegro, Mr. F1, is watching us.
So if you don't watch, I believe he's back on LM Radio.
Yeah.
Como está, pá? Obrigado.
Congrats, Sash. Enjoy it, bro. And for those of you who don't know how to get it, Sash, type the frequency in the comments so people can tune in on your morning show.
Or you could just say, what's the frequency, Kenneth?
Kenneth.
Gary, it's Sasha will understand. There are many other people who understand. I asked you to focus, but no, Gary decides not to. Formula One testing has come and gone. Those people who love Ferrari claim that they are fantastic. Those people who love Mercedes claim that they are also a thing. But you know what? We'll only really know after qualifying in Adelaide in 2 weeks' time. It's going to be a stonker of a season. It's going to be absolutely magnificent.
Another,
Kimmy is in a car.
yeah, another thing.
Yes, Gary.
MotoGP starts this weekend, guys. We got 3 South Africans over there. The Binder boys. The one is in Super in the Moto 3. That's Darren Binder. Brad Binder in Moto 2. Stephen Windall was scheduled to run, but unfortunately he has got back into hospital. He had an operation on his toe in December, and it created a bit of an infection, and he's back in hospital, so they've had to re-operate on the toe and all that sort of stuff.
Cut it off.
And so he's out of action for 7 days. So to Stephen,
Yeah,
we wish you all the well. Get well
strong,
soon,
eh?
brother. We need you on that track. So support the boys. Super 3. I mean, Moto 3, Moto 2. This is this weekend in.
So do you think that Valentino Rossi will just go and beat them again?
He'll do it again.
My
Guys,
boy.
From me, unfortunately, I've got to do my side of the game, so I'm out here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you very much for joining us. This was episode 68 of Waved Yellow. If you feel individually offended, phone me later and I will help you work through it with some cement. Reggie, I hear you, but look at it. We need to clear up, just wipe the lens clear and make this all lacquer. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a fantastic week. Great weekend. See you next week for episode 69 of #Waved Yellow. Cheers.